First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I wanted to go right there to that live shot at Newport. The coast looks amazing right now. If you were heading out there, I am jealous, but nonetheless, we are here today, and thank you very much for joining us. Like I said, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. We start live streaming here every weekday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, and we go throughout the afternoon covering a wide range of segments and topics. We're on YouTube and Facebook, and of course our website and our apps, so thank you for joining us. And today, though, we are talking about the Oregon State Parks, who have announced that they're going to be hiring 250 seasonal rangers and assistants for the upcoming months. So a lot of opportunities there for people to get involved, and we want to talk all about that. We've got Stefanie Knowlton joining us right now. And Stefanie, thank you very much for being here today. Appreciate you joining the show. And this is pretty exciting here for the Oregon State Parks.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. We are excited to start our recruitment season. Like you said, we'll be recruiting 250 seasonal rangers and assistants over the next couple of months. And it's all over the state, everywhere. You mentioned the coast, and it kind of made me smile because a lot of the openings are on the Oregon State coast. So Fort Stevens, Sunset Bay, Beverly Beach, Devil's Lake, and then also around the valley and mountain region. So just about every part of the state is looking for seasonal rangers for our busy season.
I mean, and that's a lot of opportunity to kind of pick an amazing area maybe that you haven't been before and go work somewhere, go work at a really great spot. So talking about the actual positions, so a seasonal ranger or an assistant or one of those roles, like what does that involve, generally speaking?
That's a great question. We're looking for folks with excellent customer service skills so they can talk with visitors and communicate about the different opportunities there are, and then also custodial and landscape maintenance skills so they'll help maintain kind of a safe and clean park environment for our visitors. And so those are a few of the duties that they might be doing. Nice.
Okay. So, but definitely, some customer service, because you will be talking to the public, especially as we're getting into these nicer months. So yeah, that's something, and that can be a difficult job sometimes, I would imagine, just depending on what the situation is. So that's great that if you have that kind of skill set, that's going to certainly give you a help there. Looking at the different areas and places that you're going to be working, you mentioned it's all over the state, so it really is. It could be all the way in Eastern Oregon, all the way up and down the coast, like all over.
Yeah, absolutely. And so some of our most popular and beautiful spaces in the mountain region, Wallowa Lake, Cove Palisades, Tumalo near Bend, and in the valley, kind of closer to the larger population centers, we have Silver Falls, Milo MacIver, Detroit Lake, and even Champoeg. So really there are opportunities just about everywhere. And these are some of our most popular and beautiful spaces. And so it's not just a great place to visit, but it's an incredible landscape and backdrop, as you can imagine, as a summer opportunity. So it's great for people who are still in school, students, and folks who are really wanting to be outdoors and enjoy that sunshine, right? So it kind of puts a smile on my face. It's actually something that I'm like, ooh, seasonal ranger, is that something like in the future that I might be interested in, because it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, it seems like it would be amazing. And I know that it talked about what the peak season is, but can you explain kind of what that is, like how long these roles, generally speaking, would be?
That's a great question. And so we start recruiting in February, and some of them start as soon as March. And then our busy season is pretty much from April to September. And some of these positions start anywhere between now and the next couple of months. And they range in duration from about 4 months to 9 months, depending on the park and what their needs are and what their busy season looks like. And so quite a range too, in terms of what they're looking for the duration of the positions.
Stefanie, you work for the parks. I want to ask you, what do you think is the best thing about working for the Oregon State Parks?
That is a great question. I mean, we steward some of the most incredible landscapes in our state. And also, you mentioned visitors. I had an opportunity to go to the Winter Festival at Silver Falls State Park in December, and talking with the visitors was incredible. I had my OPRD gear on, Oregon State Parks gear, and everybody smiled. Like, I would walk down and they would have questions for me. They would smile at me. They were just so excited to be in these spaces. And that's how, it's not always like sunshine and roses, of course. Like any job, there's going to be challenges, but it was really lovely to be in that space and have that gorgeous backdrop, and then have people who are just really happy to be in these areas and enjoying these spaces.
That's incredible. Yeah, just to have that jacket on and have people like smiling and excited to see you. That's great. I mean, and that's why,
Especially the kids, right?
right?
Like they see that and they're just like, "Ooh, there's a ranger," and they get really excited, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, it's cool. That's why. So, well, it's about talking about that, talking about, visitors coming into town. One thing that I try to think about where I'm going to take people. So when people do come into town, like people are visiting Oregon, Portland, wherever, I try to think about which park to take them to. Do you have a go-to state park that you take visitors to?
Well, I think it all depends on what you're looking for. I live in Salem, and so Silver Falls is kind of like in my backyard. So that's one of the go-to, but I really love Willamette Mission, Champoeg. Those are also nearby. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with any of the coastal state parks. And I have a special place in my heart for the South Coast. It's really beautiful, and maybe not as many visitors out that way. So you kind of get a little more quiet. And then the mountain is its own like amazing landscape. So there really is so many opportunities. I remember there was a couple I heard a while back ago who made it a point to visit every state park in Oregon, and I thought that was such a great goal to set. And so really, if you can, just visit as many as possible.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're lucky to have so many amazing parks here in the state as well. So for somebody who is looking for a great seasonal job, this sounds like it's a perfect opportunity to get out there. And just anything else that you think people should know, about working for the parks and how they can go about applying.
That's a great question. And so I think it's good to know that even though these are seasonal positions, they also come with full benefits. And so there are comprehensive medical, vision, dental plans for the employee and their family members. And another thing to think about is that Oregon Parks and Recreation Department believes in promoting from within. Several of our key leadership of our top leadership actually started as seasonal rangers, and they remember that time very fondly and exchange stories. And so it's fun to see that started a lifelong career for them. So it's not just, it could be just for one season, or it could be for a career. So there's a lot of opportunity there.
That's awesome. And how can people go about applying?
You read my mind. Thank you for asking. If you go to our website, stateparks.oregon.gov, and then you go to the Join Us tab, and under that, Work With Us, there'll be a list of current openings that you can see. And while we are hiring for 250, not all of them are opening simultaneously, so it'll kind of be a rolling application process. And so throughout this season, there'll be a total of 250, and some of those openings will recruit for multiple positions. So just look at the ones that you're interested in and start applying.
Fantastic. Well, Stefanie, thank you very much for joining us today to talk about this, and what a great opportunity that is for people out there looking for a seasonal job to go work for the state parks. I mean, that's really cool. Well, Stefanie, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for those of you who are watching here, just to let you know, this is, again, Fox 12 Now, live streaming here every weekday. We've got more coming up today, though. So at 1:30 p.m., we're going to be talking about the Oregon International Auto Show. We actually went out there yesterday, got a close-up look at the VW ID Buzz. That is the return of the VW van, the electric version that's going to be coming to the U.S. We got to take a look at a version of that yesterday, so we'll give you kind of an in-depth review of that, plus some other behind-the-scenes things from the auto show. So that's coming up at 1:30, and at 2 p.m. we've got the Fox 12 Weather Podcast video edition. You don't want to miss that, because I hear there may be some snow kind of talk next week. We're not worried about that right now, but the Weather Podcast, I'm sure, will cover that. So that's coming up all here on Fox 12 Now, so wherever you're watching, great place to be. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.